What's up, Internet? We are back with more shenanigans with my N64 Angry Red cart that's a multi-cart, except not, because that's how it was marketed, but it's actually a flash cart, because pirates are just bad at marketing. And look, marketing's hard. I know I'm pretty bad at it too, but, you know, that's the point. Share this around. Next we have BattleTanx. I've not played BattleTanx, although Call to Action... Anyone who's familiar with, like, Shockwave.com 20 years ago... Oh, it's by 3DO. That's not a good sign. You know, one of the first games I ever played through Flash... I don't want to create a note, thank you. But I will play. Play mode campaign. Yep, that looks good. Let's start. There was, like, a BattleTank style thing where you piloted, like, a tank in a city and you shot other things up. If someone could tell me what that is, I'd like to look it up on Flashpoint. But, the Center of Disease Control, Atlanta classifies newly discovered virus level 4 hot agent. No vaccines or cures. Ooh. So, this game takes place last year is basically what's going on. That's actually some pretty good artwork right there. Not that we got to look at it too much. This guy's death flagging rather badly. This guy's death flagging incredibly badly. Ooh, martial law. Fun. Which means tanks now roam the streets, and everyone gets a tank now. Actually, speaking of Shockwave.com, I still remember, and it's been 20 years, the first game I ever played on Shockwave.com. It was Lenny Loosejocks in Space. Maybe I should review that game. I remember that. I played it recently. It kind of holds up. That was, ezone.com created Lenny Loosejocks, and they're still around, which is pretty good. I looked them up recently. Glad to see, small indie devs from way back in the day still doing stuff. Oh, bad things are happening. Citizens getting gunned down in the streets because viruses. This is strangely, possibly prophetic. That face is a little bit not great. Maybe don't do faces, artist, but the rest of the art was okay. Civil War. In tanks. That environmental destruction's rather nice. Oh, and there are green tanks. They're different from the other tanks. But which side of the tank war are we on, is the real question. China invades Russia? I don't see that happening, honestly. I don't see China invading Russia. She was the source of the one true vaccine. And now we have to be angry and do something about it. Or maybe she was a tactical nuke? It's weird, in all that time he never left that one spot. The aftermath. Wow. The female population has dropped kind of significantly there. You know, this reminds me of, like, how every apocalypse ever, like, depicted is all based around, like, just one thing in average everyday life taken away. Like, in Mad Max, it was fuel, you know. That's all just in general apocalypses as depicted in fiction. Okay, you clipped through that before you knocked it down. I'm calling BS on that. Their complex environmental interaction. But you know, eventually there will be an apocalypse as depicted with the loss of smartphones. I'm waiting on that apocalypse. I'm angry, and now I'm here to do something about it. He still hasn't left that one spot. Somehow I had a tank magically teleport underneath him, but he hasn't left the one spot. I have to appreciate his commitment to staying in one place. I don't have a rumble pack. Okay, weapons, something. Ground zero. Okay, so this doesn't really control like a tank at all, really. And it feels a lot more fast and responsive than it should be. Like, this feels like a car or something instead of a tank. And it feels like the turning doesn't really feel tank-ish. But it's not a bad feeling game by any means. I think it looks a little bit incredibly bland, but... And honestly, I'm just going back and thinking like that first-person tank Flash game that was basically this, but in like an actual, like, proper built city rather than a destroyed one. It's like, you know, I think that probably did this game better, honestly. But you know, this isn't bad. I've never played this game before either. I'm thinking this is okay. Pretty simple. C buttons don't seem to do anything. Both shoulder buttons seem to respond. Oh wait, nope. That's because my controller, both shoulder buttons are the same button. I was gonna say, both shoulder buttons seem to do the same. Oh wait, those are both Z buttons. Fair enough. Oh, there's a part-time. I like that. That's a fun way to like build up some replay value. Plus, I got an extra tank. Cool. Having survived the urban decay of Queens, you could say on an average day of Queens, Griffin now heads towards the remains of Manhattan. I do appreciate that it took a second for that car to buckle under the weight of a tank. Let's do that again. Like, there's just kind of a nice crunching feeling with vehicles underneath your tank. I kind of... Swarmers, you say? How do I swarmers? I want to use swarmers. Ah! I think I'm just stuck here. Because I don't think I can destroy this. Ah! I had to blow up that thing. I see. Uh-huh. Okay, so you have to destroy bits of the environment to get around sometimes. That's pretty clever. It's actually some relatively competent environmental destruction. I'm rather impressed. Oh, my tank is kind of in bad-looking shape. They changed the model to crumple. That's kind of cool. Oh, I'm about to die too. That's not good. That's a not good thing. Is there health any? Yes, there was, but I got hit from behind. How'd that thing even get behind me? Okay, let's try this again. Crunch, because crunching that was fun. Okay, so I need to constantly remember that environmental destruction is a factor here. We're basically playing Red Faction in tanks on the N64 is what this is. That's pretty neat, honestly. That seems to be some kind of poison gas. How that affects a tank is beyond my understanding. But you know, this doesn't seem too bad. I'm kind of impressed, honestly. This might be something to keep a lookout for. If I can get it for a decent price. Okay, we can't go that way. It seems very selective in its destruction at times, though, which is a little peculiar. Bonus points, because those are important. Fortunately, I don't need extra health this time. The sad thing is, I was like a few inches away from actually getting extra health and surviving, and then just got shot from behind. That kind of sucked. I picked up Star. I don't know what that actually does, but I picked one up. I feel like I should be able to take those little, like, wave breaker barriers down, but I can't. I mean, I'm able to take out, like, solid concrete barricades. But, you know, for a fairly simple game, that doesn't seem too bad. Well done, BattleTanx. I might have to keep a lookout for you. Alright, let's try the next game. As soon as my thing wants to load. We're taking a look at BattleTanx Global Assault. I feel like we're going to be playing a very similar game here, but let's see what we can do with perhaps a new version of the same game. Oh god, it's by 3DO. I said that about the last one too. It's like, you know, that was actually kind of decent. I'm not getting rid of any of that. Especially my Iggy's Wrecking Balls save. Who remembers Iggy's Wrecking Balls? Trust me, we're going to see it eventually. Ah, so this is a sequel to this. Okay. It's good explosion sounds. Great Foley work. Griffin Spade. I'm pretty sure you look like Sly Boots to me. I'm gonna go back and play Anachronox some more. That game's great. I just gotta find some time to do it. Ah! He got his girl back. Good for him. Also, spoilers there, Griffin, whatever your name is. Being in a tank somehow gives you prophecies of evil faces, I guess. Sure, why not? That's a pretty evil face right there. I'll give you credit. Again, faces are hard. It looks like someone took like an actual like photo and then like just smeared a metric crap ton of Vaseline over top, stretched it in Photoshop, and then like tried to animate it. It just looks really awkward. The one up there looks not bad, and clearly that's supposed to be the same person. They've got the same like red kabuki hair, but I don't need a rumble back. Destroy every... Ooh, I can change tanks. I mean, I can't, but the game's letting me... Okay, so instead of just going straight on, you now actually, like, control the turret, which means turning is actually a lot less responsive. I don't think I actually like this. I think the previous game actually played a little bit better in terms of basic controls. That's not to say this is a bad game by any means. This seems to be kind of more of the same. Albeit, it feels like the controls are a little bit less responsive. Although, ironically, it's probably a bit more tanky, for lack of a better term. Oh, there's a... I'm just messing around with the L and R buttons to see what happens. Somehow I won. Okay. I think the teammates are just fairly competent. I do appreciate a competent AI. Fear and power of the edge. Okay, you must get your family away from the traitorous masses. Get to escape ship. Again, I only get one tank, but alright. I'm guessing the escape ship is probably that green thing on the map. Oh, we're fighting submarines, tanks versus subs. I feel like I've played a game that was like that before, but I can't think of what that was called. You know, it kind of reminds me a little bit of, what was it? Triple Action on the, in television, where you could play as like a tank or a plane or a boat, and you had to like duel it out. That game is legit. I've only ever done 2 in television reviews. I should talk about that one at some point, because that game is absolutely great. Is there anything back the way I came? Hey, we got more swarmers. Health bar's a lot smaller this time around. I'm not sure if that's a factor of it being you have less health, or just the way they've chosen to display it is slightly different, but I wonder if I can hit that from here. Nope, I can't. I want to freaking blow you up. There we go. Is there anything in this hangar? Is that from a truck? No. It seems like there's less centralized, specific environmental damage as compared to the previous game. Tank bucks, you say? As in money made of tanks? Haha! There's still a little bit of environmental destruction, it's just less weirdly specific about everything. Ah, you thought you could surprise me, but I surprised you! Possibly. Also, I got a star, which I'm still not sure what that does. Alright, what else do we got here? I'm more curious what that green arrow is than anything. Where did you come from? What? How are people just spawning behind me? And can I shoot these boats? I feel like I should be able to shoot the boats. Yes, I can. Let's go back to that first person-ish mode for a second for precision targeting. Precision. In a tank. It could happen. I don't claim to be a tank expert, but precision tanks. Sure. Now, I know it's said to escape, but I feel like I could just blow everything up and get away with it. And I feel like that would be more in the spirit of what this game actually is trying to be. Okay. Okay. So there's more back there, and I've got tons of health. Let's go on a tank hunt. You know, come to think of it, it's been a long time since I've really played any tank games. The last one I think I actually played, you know, outside of this, was probably my review of, well, what's going to be the next game we're going to look at. I get to talk about Black Dogs again. That'll be fun. That's a good game. It's a weird game, though. It's a game that has, like, 2 different gameplay modes that play kind of wildly different. That'll be fun to talk about. There's 15 more enemies. Where? Okay. There's 6. Oh, it's counting up, not down. I see. So they're probably going to spawn indefinitely then. Oh, to be fair, they're taking a long time to do so. I think I may have actually cleared out all the enemies. So this really was just kind of get out, and now we're good. Although nothing seems to be spawning right now. Alright, let's do one more stage. There's plot, don't care, piloting tanks. Raid a camp, guarded by some skull raiders. Okay. Ooh, we get 2 tanks. Okay. I swear I've seen this before in a PlayStation game called Rogue Trip. And if you've never played Rogue Trip, you should absolutely play Rogue Trip. I actually want to find a copy of it. It's kind of like a cross between Twisted Metal and Crazy Taxi. And it's not great, but it's kind of really fun. I kind of like this tank. This tank actually kind of controls like the tanks did in the previous game. Way too fast, but it's more responsive in its movement. It's kind of weird though, like the destruction in the previous game was incredibly like specific to areas that you destroyed stuff. When's Mischief Makers? Mischief Makers is when we get to M, but currently we're still at B, so it'll be a while. You can make fun of me for failing really bad at the day of though. Freaking the day of, man. It's been forever playing Mischief Makers. I think I rented it like 200 times when I was a kid, and I could not beat the day of just because I cannot button mash to save my life. Ah. Oh well. We can get a better tank game next. I think I like the previous tank game better, but the fact that that one had different tanks might mean that that one might ultimately be the better of the two. Next is Battlezone Rise of the Black Dogs. You can actually get this on Steam right now. Sort of. Basically, this is a port of a PC game, but it got an extension and like some bonus. It got a bonus chapter that isn't in the Steam version, but I've heard people are trying to like decompile all the N64 code and like reinsert it. They might have already done it. I reviewed this game super long ago, and this was probably the last tank game I ever played. But it's neat because it's a game that has like 2 gameplay modes. So we actually have like a commander training, an arcade training, and pilot training. They actually are all basically this different stuff. Like pilot's slightly harder than arcade and it's slightly more simulation-y. Commander's weird because it's a completely different game. Like arcade is just you're flying tanks in space basically. Commander is you're flying tanks in space, but it's also an RTS. It's kind of bananas that they give you 2 modes to play like that. I love Mischief Makers. Mischief Makers is great, but yeah. Okay, so you got 3 modes. They're kind of like different difficulties. Like the American campaign's the easiest, Soviet's hard. Black Dogs is exclusive, and these are basically American mercenaries who get turned on by the Americans because they learned something they shouldn't have, and now everyone wants to kill them. And they're ostensibly the good guys, but they're the hardest mode of all. And that's the part that got gutted from the Steam version, or rather, wasn't inserted. I am excited to play Mischief Makers again. Alright. So, what's the movement options? No. Okay, so that's that. That's eject. So you can run around on foot. This is cool. You get a little gun, and if I can figure out what button does stuff, because I haven't played this game forever, you can enter a little sniper. And if you snipe another tank, you can actually steal it. Unfortunately, you only get 3 shots, so when that runs out, you're kind of boned. Okay, so you control the C buttons. Got it. But basically, it's tanks in space. You're following orders to take certain installations and blow up enemies. And there's actually a pretty cool story about it, because you know, you're in space with the Soviets during the Cold War, because of course it's set during the Cold War. But apparently, like, they found some kind of, like, weird alien metal that they want to hide from the world because conspiracy theories, and then there's, like, aliens at one point, and it becomes a whole thing. But this is definitely more of an arcadey style game. But it's got multiple gameplay modes. I think it's pretty cool. I find the music in this game, which you probably can't hear too much of, because for whatever reason it's set really low compared to the sound effects, but the music in this game I find to be really, really kind of creepy. Like, it's got like this weird warble effect that's just weird. I'm kind of surprised because... Oh, you know what happened? I think we might be playing a later level because I actually have save data on this game. I think, because normally you start on like this tutorial stage, and we're not doing that right now. So this... Uh-oh. I pressed start, and then bad things happened. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. Okay, that's why the music's loud. We're gonna abort and actually do this properly. So, here's the fun story about this game. Is... This was... Nope, it's actually starting us at the end because I have saved it. Okay, so we're actually playing a very late stage then. Sorry about that. But we do have music this time, so that's good. The resolution probably has changed. That's kind of a weird thing about, like, this multi-cars. I just had to set it for a standard for this as well, like, just for this. So the resolution's a little bit different. I also noticed that there's some, like, weird visual glitching that isn't actually on my actual my actual copy of this game. Because I remember there was, like, this weird, like, green almost for like electric sort of weird jazz that was going on at the bottom of the screen. Now there's like this weird yellow thing that's sort of freaking out. But yeah, the resolution is weird for this multi-card. I just set it to the standard of what the multi-card is itself, so stuff's not going to be quite the same. But I can't be bothered to change it for every single game on here because there's like freaking 300 of them. Yeah, it might be overscan. I'm not sure. I don't claim to be an expert in video technology, even though it's kind of my job to be. I would be happy if everything was just a standardized size on everything, but it's not. I'd like for people to stop complaining that I stretch footage. Fortunately, I had a very talented artist create a background for me, so I don't have to worry about that so much now. But, you know. Even today, I got 2 messages on it. It's like, stop stretching your footage. It's like, I did. I did. Please stop bugging me about it. It really bugs me that I don't do it, but I've kind of got a solution for that. But seriously. But you know, this is an okay little tank game. Exceptionally talented. You're a lot more talented an artist than I am. I'm the guy who created channel art for my channel like 3 or 4 years ago and still haven't put it up because it's not good. I don't have art skills. Not in the visual mediums, anyway. I was good at making games, and I'm good at... Well, I try to be good at making videos. Oh. Well, out of ammo. I could probably swap my weapons, but... Let's see if we can do this on foot. You can. It just takes forever. Uh-oh. There's a little, Soviet guy trying to shoot us up, too. You are... Uh-oh. Oh, that's a problem. They swiped my tank. Uh-oh. Okay, we don't want them to run us over, which they absolutely can do. But this might let me... Whoops. Hooray! Oh, I took a class in Photoshop as well, but I'm just not good with any of this stuff. Anyway, that's Rise of the Black Dogs. I think that game's pretty good. Unfortunately, we had to show a later part. Oh! I've heard stories about this, man. This is Beast Wars Transmetal, based on the show I know as Beasties, because you can't have war in the title in Canada, or you couldn't back in the day. Fun story, the first episode did, and they had to change it after that. Like, that set a precedent, from what I remember. This is based on the Mainframe Entertainment CGI Transformers venture that had the greatest Transformer of all, Dinobot. I had an action figure of Dinobot back in the day, and someone stole it, and I'm sad, because that was, like, one of my favorite toys. That and my, I believe, first generation Optimus Prime toy, which was made of solid metal. Oh, you need to see some Beasties, my friend. It is actually, like, legitimately good. Like, let me try and sell this to you in one simple statement. It has a Velociraptor samurai played by Scott McNeil. And that's about as awesome as it sounds. Anyway, this is a fighting game based on that. It's pretty bad from what I hear. I think there was a PlayStation Beasties game as well that was actually pretty good. It plays Optimus Primal. Good old Rat Trap. Cheetor, played by Air-Razor. I had an Air-Razor figure back in the day. It was not very good. There's no Dinobot. I'm sad about this. I don't remember Terrorsaur at all. Good old Waspinator. He was the butt of many a joke, and he was probably one of the better characters. We're going to use Rat Trap because Scott McNeil's awesome. Hey, we can pick Rat Trap colors. I think that's classic Rat Trap. We're going to use classic Rat Trap. That sounds fun. So I think this is like based on the second chunk where alien metal like fused with them and they became more metallic. So everything now has a vehicle mode as well as like an actual animal mode. Oh, this is bad. This is really bad. Oh god. What is this game? Oh, custom robo, this game ain't. Oh, the mid-2000s anime. I am sorry. That's pretty bad Transformers. The 80s Transformers was pretty good. It also has the fantastic claim to fame that the 80s Transformers was the very last thing Orson Welles ever did. He got to play the villain in the movie. And I've heard a story about that, where after that he went home and talked to his publicist, and he apparently just lit up with glee that he got to play the voice of a toy. And that was just very special to Orson Welles, apparently. And that to me makes me happy. It's like, ah, that's good that you enjoyed your last role. But, I like Beasties. I don't like the weird thing that happened after that, Beast Machines, which was not so good. Oh, this game is so crap. I mean, I've played some pretty shitty N64 fighting games, but this is pretty bad. It's not bad for a laugh, but I don't think I'll be looking for this at any point. Although I will go back and watch the Beasties cartoon again, or at the very least the episode Code of Hero. Seriously, if you're only going to watch one episode of Beasties, watch Code of Hero. It is one of the best things cartoons has ever done, and I will stand by that. Yeah, well, this isn't Tekken. It's not even the Sega Genesis Tekken. Which I can say proudly I played recently. And I can also say proudly, you don't want to play that at all. Oh, this is so bad. Like, this is... It's almost enjoyably terrible. Like, not actually, but almost. Just from how incredibly incompetent this is, sort of way. All the attacks are dedicated to the C buttons. It's so weird. In fact, this is like a 3D game. It's way more awful than it has any right to be.
Sorry.
Oh, that was bad. Why am I fighting AirRaiser? We're on the same team. That's the AirRaiser figure I actually had, which is weird because I don't think AirRaiser actually ever took that form in the show. I don't think. It's been a long time since I've seen Beast Wars. I need to do that again. Also, while we're plugging Mainframe Entertainment awesome CGI shows, go watch Shadow Raiders. Or what was it called in the States with a really stupid name, War Planets. This is so shitty. It's the only way I can describe it. I'm not sure I'd say this is the worst N64 game ever, because Quest 64 exists, and Iden Chronicles exists. Well, the problem with Reboot... See, the problem with Reboot is the fact that it got rebooted on Netflix, and it's the worst thing ever. And it makes me sad because it ruins my childhood, because Reboot was the show I watched as a child. I loved Reboot so much. I've got the full DVD set of Reboot, in fact. It's sad, the actual show, because I refuse to acknowledge that Netflix thing anymore. It's a sad thing that show ended on a cliffhanger and Tony J passed away, because there will never be another voice like Tony J, ever. And without the voice of Megabyte, you can't have Reboot. You can't. Man, I gotta watch some Reboot now. This is so bad. Oh, man. You know, I feel like I've said before I've played every bad N64 game. I have to amend that because I haven't played this before, but I've played most of them. I've certainly played all the bad platformers. Oh god, Butt Ugly Martians. I vaguely remember that show. Just slightly remember it. I genuinely don't think I've ever seen a full episode of it. I remember that, like, every fight took place... No matter where the show was set, every fight took place in a random desert for no reason. And I remember that show just being terrible to look at, and just dumb and bad. You know, the really sad thing is... And I swear I've tweeted this exact tweet like 4 or 5 times, but I think about this on a fairly regular basis. CGI nowadays doesn't look half as good as how Reboot looked back in the day. And I think part of that's just because Reboot was like just so stylized. But I think Mainframe was definitely ahead of the time back in the day as well. Also, I get to take pride in anything Mainframe did because, you know, Canadian. Oh, this is so bad. Oh, this is so not good. Oh, this is a way to tarnish my childhood. You know, I have a very fondness for Beast Wars. I was there for the very first episode. And that was like the one thing my mom watched with me back in the day. It was like the one thing we did together. So, you know, I have a lot of fondness for Beasties, and that was just god-awful. Oh, God, don't tell me that. But Ugly Martians is terrible. Alright, so number 5. Oh, this is a good game. This is Beetle Adventure Racing. This is an interesting game, and this is particularly important that you're actually here, Vermilion, because this game showed up in your chunk of the world, in the lovely land of Australia, and it's the exact same game, except they removed the license. They changed the car license. It's the exact same game, but you don't drive Volkswagen Beetles. Instead, you play a completely different type of car. For some reason. And I'm really going to have to try and track down a weird, bizarre version of, like, the Australian cut of this, just because how weird it is more than anything. But this is a neat little kart racer. I've got gameplay footage. This was probably the second most played racing game I had on the N64. I played Diddy Kong Racing more than this, but I played a lot of this game. Specifically for one reason. There was a car I wanted to unlock, because I thought it looked so cool as a kid, and I never could. And the sad thing is they tease it right at the start of the game, which really annoys me. But this is a really damn fun little arcade racing game. If you're into kart racers, I think this is one to look out for. I'd say it's probably, from what I played, number 2 or number 3 on the system. That's the car I wanted, the rainbow alien car, because of course I did. Yeah, see, I mostly just play Diddy as well. Like, I like the adventure mode more than anything. And I honestly don't think there was too many places that had, like, Mario Kart. So I think I only ever rented that once. Alright, we'll go easy because I don't actually want to try. And I can pick our car. I always pick the blue car because I don't know jack about cars, but I like blue cars. I just wanted to fly around too and drive the hovercraft, and it turns out the hovercraft is garbage in that game. Oh, I love Diddy. That might be my favorite kart racer. We might get to Diddy tonight if I do a couple more episodes. I know I wanted to do more than one, just to get some backlog, because I haven't gotten any more episodes in the hopper. But this is a kart racer, but it has like an interesting sort of like secret points system. I'll see if I can find it. Okay, so that was a 2-point box. There are all these points scattered about in boxes with like labeled numbers of numbers. Thank you, brain. And you get stuff if you, like, find all of them, but you have to go through all the bonus routes. Like, there was a 5 box behind that glass pane we didn't break through. Oh! I don't remember what reverse is in this game, so we're just gonna have to barrel through. This is on me. There's a 5-point box, though. The thing is, you only get 3 laps per go, so you kind of need to know exactly where every single box is. And by finding all the point boxes, you get unlockables and stuff. There's a nitro box. And of course the boxes don't... The point boxes at least don't respawn, so you kind of have to get them all in 3 laps, and you need to know where they all are. So there's one. Oh, I clipped the side of that, though. Yeah, see, I didn't like N64 Mario Kart all that much. The Mario Kart I really liked was Double Dash, which is sad because I don't have a copy and I really want one. Oh, speaking of, I have my GameCube collection should be going up in a few days. Just waiting for YouTube to finally render it in HD. Although I had to, because all my stuff is in like 3 different rooms right now, I had to cut the idea of having gameplay footage in it. And I've actually been sitting on that video for like 8 months because of that problem. But look forward to that. But you know, this is just a nice little racing game. I'd say it's one of the better ones for the N64, because the N64 had a lot of really garbage racing games on it. I mean, what was it, Automobili Lamborghini thing? That was crap. And there was a 10-point box that we missed out on. Whoop. Cut through the castle. There we go. 2, 4. Alright. You only have like 3 or 4 GameCube games, really. Which ones did you keep? I'm trying to remember from your photo, but I don't think I actually saw any. Alright, there we go, we got the points. I would definitely say this is one of the better arcade games, or the arcade games, kart racing games, sort of. Out of all the racing games on the GameCube, the N64, I'd say this is one of the better ones. And the funny thing is, this is basically just shilling a license at you, but they didn't let that interfere with it being a good game. Kind of wish I remembered which license was like the first one. I'm guessing the Beatles one is, because it's like the universal one, as opposed to the weird Australian exclusive license. But I gotta say, I think this game holds up pretty well. Maybe not as much as like Diddy. Also, there's Stonehenge for reasons. But I like this game a lot. And I think there's a mirrored course where you can go backwards on areas like this. Like, I remember going the other way past those waterfalls. I have the Game Boy Player disc as well, but the disc is a bit messed up. Like, it's weird. As long as I leave it in my GameCube, and I tape the lid to the GameCube down because the lock on it's kind of busted, it'll play. But if I try and take it out or open the lid, it just has trouble reading it. That 10 points is sadly out of my reach. And I think if you play on the highest difficulties, you actually need like all the points to actually win. Oh, I have to read chat. That's pretty good though. Those are some good games. I've never actually played the Bloody Roar games. I've heard they're pretty good. And I've got Skies of Arcadia Legend as well. That's one of my favorite games of all time. You know, when I actually get off my butt and finish Live Alive, I was thinking about maybe doing Skies next. Because Skies is a very cool RPG. That's one of my favorites. It's definitely one of my favorite GameCube games for sure. I've been meaning to get Pokemon Coliseum for a while, but it's gone up in price pretty bad. I remember playing this sequel and not enjoying it so much, but I remember the first Pokemon Coliseum being very, very fun. That was the game where you started with an Espeon and an Umbreon, and it just felt really weirdly balanced at the start because you had like those final monsters, but you could only catch very specific monsters as well. It was a neat concept. Really, you should play more Skies. It's damn good. I want up secrets. There's a secret around here. I know there is. It's right here. Alright. I don't care if I got put in a second place. I want to go down the mine shaft. Because why not? This game is pretty cool, I think. The music's a bit generic and crap, but minus the like title screen intro theme. But I gotta say, this is a pretty cool little racing game. Although I will say that the actual stages are pretty long. I've been racing this one stage for 7 minutes. Still, you know, I think this is a pretty cool game. Boom, first place. Yeah, I think I got my copy of Skies for about 80 bucks. You better remember, game. Actually, it won't unless I reset, which I'm gonna have to, I guess. Alright, well that's Beetle Adventure Racing, at least in North America. In Australia, it was a completely different brand of car. But, yeah. And, yeah, so let's take a look at those past 5 games and see in this episode if it was worth it. BattleTanx, not bad. The destruction, it was quite impressive. I thought it was pretty decent. Global Assault, like, it's a sequel to BattleTanx, but it feels like they took out a lot of, like, the localized destruction. The controls are a little bit more fiddly, but there are multiple tanks, so the controls do swap up a little bit. Unfortunately, I couldn't show you all of Black Dogs or all of the proper start of Black Dogs because I already had save file of the game complete. Oops. But that's a pretty decent little tank thing. Plus, you can get it on Steam. Beast Wars is complete tripe. Beetle Adventure Racing is a legitimately great racing game, and I think you should play it because it's good. Based on these past 5 games, would I recommend this cartridge? Yes, with the exception of Beast Wars. Global Assault's a little iffy, but Beast Wars Transmetal's just awful. Anyway, I will be back in a second to continue the stream, but for you on YouTube, I will be back next week where we're going to take a look at Big Mountain 2000. Oh, and Biofreaks is apparently terrible. Well, we're going to find out in about 10 minutes, so let's take a look. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, follow the stream to know when we go live, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and support my Patreon so I can continue to do what I do best, which is ruin my childhood with terrible Beast Wars games based on an awesome cartoon. I'm going to have to watch Code of Hero after this, just to cheer myself up, and that's a sad episode, but damn it, it's good. Anyway, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Peace out, Internet.